Welcome to the High Pressure Podcast with me, George Ratermann.
And me, Marie Williams. Brought to you by Reliably Ratermann.
Bringing you industry news and trends.
Plus, insightful conversations with industry leaders.
Let's get to today's show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another solution session here on the High Pressure Podcast. These are quick 10-minute episodes where we bring in an industry expert. And today we are bringing in Tom Badstubner, who is a Goddard consultant and guru of all labels. As some of you may or may not know, there have been changes from the FDA and OSHA for medical oxygen labels and medical air labels. If you're a Ratermann customer of labels, guess what? You have the easiest job ever. All you have to do is sit back and relax. We're taking care of it for you. Our team stays up to date with all consultants and making sure that we are in compliance so that you're in compliance. And if you're a potential new customer for Ratermann and labels, please reach out to us. Again, we are in clear communication and lockstep with what industry news is coming out and updates that have to be done to our labels. And I just want to give a little update on a little pitch here of what Ratermann offers for our label capabilities. So everything is in-house. We have a design team in-house, we have a production team in-house, and we have a brand new printer in-house that prints up to 1200 DPI. And you may be thinking to yourself, what the heck is that, Marie? And to give perspective, competitors' labels are at 600 DPI. And that basically gives the amount of clarity to your label. We're also at the point in our label machine and label production capabilities where if our machine spots one little smudge on a label, it stops it, points out what label it is, it pulls it from the rack, and then continues printing to make sure that you're getting flawless labels. Because everything is in-house, that means that you're getting a very quick turnaround time from design to production. We're also in complete control of the sources that we use to create our labels. So our adhesives are tested and true for pretty much snowstorm, rainstorm, sun beating down on it, whatever you need, that label is going to stick onto that cylinder. And our inks are the best inks that are UV cured, which means that they get stronger in the sun. So you don't have to worry about, those oranges, those reds, or those greens fading in the sun. If you're interested in getting custom labels from Ratermann Manufacturing, please reach out to us. We're here to help you. Again, we have an amazing relationship with the consultants of our industry that work with OSHA, FDA, CGA, and we make sure, again, that we're compliant, so you're compliant. So now let's dive into our conversation with Tom Badstubner, who is going to be discussing with us where these changes came from, what you have to look out for, and a little bit of advice for you. Thanks. Tom, welcome.
Welcome. Sure.
And funny enough, I have a story with Tom. So when was that, Tom? 2014, the GHS label changes that happened?
Yeah, it was about that time. Yeah.
Yes, I remember I had just started at Ratermann in the marketing department, writing the marketing for Ratermann. And I put some email blast out, and the wording was so delicate at that point. I think I used like as instead of is or something like that. You called me and you're like, Marie, this isn't good. That's not what it is. And I remember sitting there telling you, oh my God, my dad's going to fire me over this. I can't believe I put this out. And you're like, no, it's going to be okay. So it's funny, all these years later, here we are again. And I'm going right to the source for what information we need. And that's you. You've been so wonderful in guiding our label department in the right direction. So thank you for joining.
My pleasure.
All right. So let's talk about what's happening. Okay. So a lot of folks within our industry that deal with medical oxygen and medical air are worried about what that means for them when it comes to labels. Would you mind explaining why this change came about and what's changing?
Sure. So it goes back to 2012, actually. Before that, CGA and GADA were trying to get the FDA to modernize their regulations, not just for labels, but for everything. And so in 2012, we had a series of public meetings at the CGA, at FDA rather, And we explained to FDA why their existing regulations just didn't work for medical gases. We weren't specifically thinking about labels. We were thinking about the FDA requirement to do theoretical yields and expiration dates, which are just not appropriate for medical gases. And so we encouraged the FDA to update the medical gas regulations, which they had actually committed to do way back in 1979. And so we're in 2012, and they still hadn't done it. And so they said, okay, yeah, we will. And they didn't take a lot of action. So CGA, through a lobbyist, and got FDA, actually got Congress to tell the FDA, hey, you really need to update these medical gas regulations. And so July of last year, or summer last year, FDA finally came out with a new medical gas regulation. And they had the surprise in about the labels, which we did not anticipate. We never had asked them to change the oxygen or medical air label, but it's something that had been on their list to do. And so they slipped that into the new medical gas regulations. The new medical gas regulations cover a lot of things about establishing a quality unit, about your personnel training, about the buildings, about facilities, and included in that is a little piece about labels. And that's the part that's probably been most troubling for us because we have so many millions of labels out there, and they need to be changed, at least for oxygen and for air. So in addition to the FDA's initiative, which they published last summer, and it's the deadline is December 18th, 2025. And so we have about the rest of this year in order to get into compliance with that. In addition to the FDA's initiative, OSHA also is making some label changes, and they're updating their OSHA compliance to something called GHS 10. And that required some very subtle changes to labels. Most of them are not real significant, and they're not really due right now. They're due, I think, 2026. And so CGA, the Medical Gas Committee, and the Cylinder Committee, or Hazard Communication Committee, worked on getting the labels fit for medical gas use. And as long as we're going to have to make a label change, why not update these labels for OSHA use as well? And so that process has taken several months for CGA to actually develop the new OSHA compliant and FDA compliant medical gas labels. And really right now, all it affects is medical oxygen, liquid and cryogenic, or liquid and high pressure, and medical air. Those are the only ones that are released right now.
Okay. And my next question was going to be, what should people be looking for to make sure that their labels are updated and compliant? What are the changes that are being made?
So for oxygen, the FDA is requiring the statement, no smoking and no vaping, along with a pictogram that describes no smoking, no vaping. Now, the FDA never said that they would write the pictogram. They expected industry to write the pictogram. And so CGA came up with a pictogram that describes no smoking, no vaping, and no fires. And that actually takes quite a bit of space up on the label. And so there's an alternate pictogram that has no smoking, no vaping, and the pictogram all in one image. And so you could choose the either expanded image with the words and then 3 pictograms, or 1 pictogram with some smaller words. So those changes need to be on your oxygen label. There's another change that's required for the oxygen label. The oxygen label right now has the statement RX only, which means prescription only. We have no idea why the FDA made this change, but they now say that the label needs to say RX required. So we have to change that RX only to RX required, and we need this no smoking, no vaping statement, and we need the pictograms on the labels. And so on medical air, there's also a change, and that is the current medical air label allows for emergency use of medical air without a prescription. The FDA specifically said you may not do that. And so the emergency use option for medical air has been removed. And so that'll require changing most medical air labels as well.
Excellent. And are those all the changes then?
Those are all the changes that are required right now. If you want the actual artwork, or not artwork, but sample artwork, and then you can find that in PS 79, Position Statement 79, which is a publication that just came out last week from CGA, which shows sample labels. Or you can contact your label supplier, right? And your label supply proofs of what the labels ought to look like. Marie, let's talk about one other issue, and that is timing for this, all right? We have from now until December 18th to be compliant. Medical gas manufacturers can change their labels early, no problem. But the labels that ship after November 8th or December 18th need to have these new pictograms and statements on them. So you can start early, and I would encourage you to start early because otherwise it's going to be very, very painful to change all those labels. If you do, be sure that you update your FDA drug listing and contact us at Asterisk. We can tell you how to do that. You need to update your drug listing with the new labels as well. You can have your old label listed and your new label listed all at the same time. You also want to have your label master record in your SOPs updated so that it includes the new labels as well. And so until December 18th, you're going to have 2 authorized oxygen labels. You'll have the old one and the new one. And then on December 18th, you'll retire the old oxygen labels.
That's fantastic. Great point. And they can reach out to you if you know they have questions around that, which is fantastic. If you are a GATA member, that's, I think, one of the best resources. Well, there's so many great resources of being a GATA member, but I think having you at their disposal is just incredible. And I can't thank you enough for all the help and guidance you've given Ratermann over the years.
Well, it's we're glad to do it. We're glad to do it.
Well, Tom, is there anything else you think that the industry should know about these changes before we wrap up?
No, that covers it. Give me a call if you have any questions, or Marie, and we can get them answered for you.
Great. Well, thank you, Tom. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the CGA meeting there. And I know it's a fantastic meeting, so I'm sure a lot of great things are coming from it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for watching. Stay up to date with the latest news in the gas and welding industry by clicking on the subscribe button.
And check out one of our other videos to learn more. Find out more about Reliably Ratermann at rmiordered.com.